Yep, there we go, and welcome back to Stream 2. Started pretty much straight after Stream 1. Very hot here today, well over 30 degrees in Speaker's Corner, especially in the direct sunlight. And you can see many people here as I pan around. Many people here are trying to be in the shade, so you've got a lot of people condensed under the shade here. And we have yet to have any sort of interesting dialogue. Just been wandering around, chatting to a few people, but nothing substantial at the moment. Maybe they know that Stop Spamming is in my ear and I'm giving off this extra glow here. I don't know. But and he's laughing in my ear, but we haven't quite got... and here should be speaking to Godwin. That should be amusing. If nothing else, entertainment value. Cool. No child in the whole world. Yeah. Just my does help, definitely. Wear white so I'm going to go in this way for a few moments. Keep an eye out. Just don't see any stops. I really want to have something for you in particular.
Okay, address it. You're on your channel. On your channel, you state that you have come to Speaker's Corner to address the misconceptions of Islam. A lady comes up to you and says to you, Shabir, I would like to discuss exactly what you claimed on your channel about coming to deal with the misconception of Islam. Then you say to her, no, I'm not going to discuss it, and you say on top of that, I'm here on a nice day out. Now this is very funny to me, because you have a mic on your chest, you've got a camera pointing at you, you're walking around looking for discussions. Every single time you're here, you upload channels of your, on your channel addressing issues in relation to Islam and also doing polemics against Christians. So all of a sudden, today, now you're confronted by my sister who you know, okay, has done some research and will understand and will be able to address some of the issues and be able to debate you in a way that you both can discuss, because you're both educated about this particular topic. Now, all of a sudden, you don't want to do this. You'd rather look for someone who's not knowledgeable, perhaps a new convert Christian, and then harass them, essentially. So, yeah, you're right. I don't want to discuss it. Okay? No, I don't. Yeah,
so you did your job. Dictator. That's the evil. That's the snaky way. Snake in disguise.
Hey, it's Jamie. Jamie, say hi, buddy.
Hey,
look at that hat. Nobody can miss Jamie in that hat. He is looking damn good. How you doing, buddy?
Okay, thank you.
Well,
sorry,
man.
I'm a bit late.
No worries. I've got Stop Spamming in my ear. Stops, Jamie.
Okay. Hi, Stop Spamming. Yeah, I listened to you guys yesterday for a while. No, sorry, Friday. I listened to your stream on Friday.
Jamie was on the chat on Friday, but he was out, so he couldn't be on the show. Stops is obviously he's live, but the stream is about 30 seconds delayed, so he can hear you.
Okay.
But, so we've walked around. We've tried to speak to Shabir. We've tried to speak to Polite Hamza, the little Hamza.
Yeah.
And we haven't really got very far. We went with the Inheritance, and he wasn't prepared to deal with it right now.
Okay.
We should interact on email, and maybe we'll get him on the Gin and Tonic show.
They'll say like, well, you need to be an expert to understand that. I'm not an expert.
Stop says I've got to shake your hand and give you a kiss. I'm not sure. I'll give you a virtual kiss for what you're doing. So what's your plan today?
I sort of wanted to speak to Polite Hamza.
He's floating around. I don't know if he's warmed up yet. I asked him, and he said he had to first get in the mood. He wasn't quite in the mood, so maybe he's in the mood now.
Yeah, and
what's your topic today?
Potentially, kind of, how people feel about not all non-Muslims kind of going to hell, but even the worst of Muslims kind of only going to hell for a finite period of time. So like non-Muslims kind of in general go to hell forever is the orthodox Sunni understanding. And so I want to hear like how they feel about that, especially if they're converts, because it'd be interesting thinking that how do you justify kind of telling yourself that it is deserved for your family members to go to hell forever, because you must know full well that your family members are probably decent people, and yet now you're part of this ideology which says they're going to hell forever, and that's their deserved punishment for associating partners with Allah. And I'm just wondering like how people will deal with that, and especially like some of these really adamant kind of converts to Islam, like some of the ones who kind of grow out to the kind of really sunny beard with no mustache. Like, I wonder if they've really thought about it, or if they're capable of thinking about it, if they're trying to avoid thinking about it. So like red-haired Hamza would be interesting to talk to you about this.
Yeah, I mean, if they're very fundamentalist, I'm guessing they would just go, whatever the Quran says, I've got to follow, even if I don't like it. They do that. I think it's like good to have like multiple kind of lines of attack, I guess. So like, if there's something kind of like, let's say you give them a logical, something they don't feel quite right about logically, like the inheritance or Gog and Magog not being found, then they might say, well, that might change in the future, and like maybe I don't really understand it. God's mysterious. I know that the Quran is so perfect because it's such a wonderful way of life, and so they'll justify it to kind of morally. But then if you also give them something morally to think about, then like they like if you only gave them the moral argument, then they'd be like, well, no matter what it says morally, kind of the logic works out, and if it's God's will, it's God's will, it must be okay. So I think if you like kind of make them feel shaky on both sides, then they might want to think about this like more carefully and so you're going with the factual as well as the moral approach.
I think that could bear.
Because there was a conversation with Hassan and Mansour, and Hassan was saying,
Hassan Radwan.
Where Hassan was going, eternal punishment, I just can't imagine it. And Mansour was trying to explain how it works in the real world. Of course, there's a glaring error there. The reason we have punishment is why? To deter people from harming other people. God can't be harmed, i.e. what is the purpose of punishment against a being who cannot be harmed either?
Does it make more sense as a justice system? Like, does it make more sense as like what the most benevolent being in the world would choose as purely just, right and righteous punishment? Or does it make more sense as kind of what a cult leader would say in order to make sure he keeps his followers loyal? Like, what fits the facts better? Like, and you can ask that sort of question about the inheritance thing as well, because they say like kind of, well, the scholarly consensus kind of fixes the Quran, and there's a hadith that says to listen to the scholarly consensus, basically. And then you ask yourself, well, but does it make more sense that a perfect God would intentionally leave kind of an error in his book, which he challenges people to try and find errors in, and intentionally leaving an error for them to find so that the scholars can fix later? Or does it make more sense that this wasn't created by a perfect being? What makes more sense?
Well, there's a contradiction. Either the Quran is inerrant, or it's not, and if it's not, you follow the scholars, but then don't make the claim that the Quran is inerrant. So if they didn't make that claim, we could go, okay, here's a few errors. I mean, the Christians have acknowledged the Bible is full of contradictions, but people like Bob will just go, hey, as long as the main message isn't tainted, that's fine. We know this was done by humans, no problem. We don't care about contradictions, as long as the message is clear. That's a kind of a weaker position, and I think that gets them out of trouble. It doesn't really, but that's another way to go. But let's see what we can find, because we've been battling to find something. So maybe you'll be more. People will be more interested in speaking to you, and we can just record you. Because the question stops us wanting to ask, and maybe you can kind of throw it in.
Okay.
What in the Quran is true, and what evidence have they got? Just a broad question, because obviously Stops has always asked the question, what's verifiably true in the Quran? But he's suggesting that might not be an easily understood question, so it's more a case of what do they feel is true, and what evidence have they got for it? Because they can then give anything. And how long have you still got, Stops? Stops has got an hour, so we can find somebody.
Like, I assume like the most reasonable answer they'd give would be like, I think there's one of the predictions in the Quran, not Hadith but Quran, is that he says the battle between the Romans and the Persians will conclude in 3 to 6 years. And that's meant to be one of the most miraculous things, like making a kind of geopolitical kind of prediction with an error bound of 3 to 6 years, or like 3 to 9 years.
Yeah. Is that the best that God could do?
Yeah.
I mean, Stop's got a lot of information on that because it also says about a certain area and all that. So yeah, if they bring that up, I think Stops will be ready for that one as well.
I mean, I'm not as well prepared like on that kind of line of reasoning necessarily.
That's why it's good to have somebody in your ear who's got has been through all of those things.
Okay,
and
that's cool.
Some of them don't like that though, because hey, I want somebody to tell me the best possible evidence. I don't want to look good on camera, but other people don't like it. So
and like I know I might sort of also kind of one of the things I might do is just like be in the audience of like kind of one of the one-on-one discussions they like having with agnostics and atheists who are like one-time kind of visitors.
Yes.
Because often like they'll like the agnostic or atheist will say like, well, what about evolution? And they won't have all the information like off the top of their head, and then they'll like bring up something kind of like nonsense, and so I know I might want to like help someone out or something. I think at this point I've been kind of like blacklisted as like, oh, he's not sincere, and so I'm not sure if like some of the most full-time.
But you've never been rude. You've never.
I've been rude to Adnan.
But Adnan's an exception.
That got a bit a bit belligerent either way.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
it wasn't
it's not been swear words and stuff. There's been a lot worse things here. So I think anybody that comes back regularly and critiques Islam is not sincere or whatever the case is. There's some excuse. We won't take it seriously.
But
let's see what we can find. Maybe Shabir, because you haven't spoken to him, you can try him. I don't know if you've spoken to him before. He prepares up a lot of obscurantism.
And he takes quite a lot of time to answer.
Exactly, and he'll throw out buzzwords all the time, because it sounds good, and people that don't know any better will kind of just go with it. So that's very well known. There's the Christian Stops, Atun and Godwin and the other fellow's name.
Daniel's the other.
Daniel's the other guy.
Daniel's the other.
There's little Hamza. There you go. But I'm not sure, he was a bit shy of being on camera for some reason. But you can kind of just mosey on in and I'll come past so that you don't. We've got to do it strategically. So, it's a bit cooler here. So I'll just sort of do it from a distance. If he gets into a conversation, Stops, I'll move in there. Because little Hamza just seemed a bit camera shy for some reason. I'm telling you, Stops, it is. I must be giving off a glow here. Normally they won't walk away from me because I'm sort of not considered any sort of serious threat here. So which is fine. But today maybe there's an air of authority in me that I wouldn't normally have. Well, he's not here, as far as I can tell. So Sophia Films, you're asking if, because I can't really see the comments so well. I can kind of see them come up, but they're a bit small, and when the camera's in the bright light, I can't see the comments very well. What is it that you want to ask Ginger Hamza? He's not here, as far as I can tell. But I've also I've had conversation with him before, and I found it kind of belligerent. And when he had the conversation with Phil as well, I mean, multiple times Phil had to tell him that it's not what he's saying. So it doesn't summarize a person's position accurately, which is frustrating as well. You want to be intellectually and honest and charitable. Those are two big things in a discussion. And you should be able to summarize a person's position so they go, yes, that's what I mean, thank you for summarizing it in that way. Then you know you're on point. But if you're summarizing and the person keeps saying, no, that's not what I'm saying, then either you've got a bad comprehension, bad listening, or both, or you're just dishonest. So I found that it's about trying to school and rinse people, from his point of view. So I'm not sure that's an intellectually honest position, but I do not see him here. But if he was, I certainly would go and ask him the question that Stops has asked me to ask. We're just finding it difficult. No. Not that I can see. I mean, we've walked around the whole place. Cool, okay.
But now,
This other guy almost looks like Little Hamza's brother or something.
I don't even know about it. I never ruled it out. I never crossed it out. I don't know about it. So if I start Hinduism, if I start Sikhism,
Those are Christians.
Okay, you just find a good way. You lose your choice between that and
I will take you easy to a letter, but let's be sensible. Let's be sensible. If we are pretending like Israel Palestine, if you could prove that your descendants had lived in my house for 1,000 years, I'd say let's share the house. You have part, I'll have part.
He's European and Middle Eastern.
They were a majority until 1948. You depopulated
Things change.
and brought in
Things
That's why
change.
you keep seeing all the land.
Things
You go
change.
to South Africa and you say this is
You know, one day
American,
the Muslims will read their own Quran. And their own Quran says the children of Israel will return. And they have done. But you'll say, go out, go back to Europe. You can't defeat Allah and his prophecies. You can die trying, but you can't defeat Allah and his
We
prophecies.
submit to Allah, we're not declaring war against Allah. Why is it not in the newspapers?
You should read the right newspapers. See this Quran? It's a very small book.
believe in the Quran.
Chapter 17, verse 104.
No,
says
Adnan Rashid is
the
not here as far as I can
children of
tell.
Israel will return.
After his last encounter with Jamie, I'm not that impressed. Well, not that I was super impressed anyway, but I'm not that impressed with that. If you don't know something, say you don't know, I'll research it. But don't bring up red herrings and talk a load of nonsense in an attempt to discredit somebody. Deal with things, deal with what they are talking about.
Do you bow down
But
to
no, I have not
Allah,
seen Adnan,
or do
Ali,
you bow down to
Hijab.
Hamas and Hezbollah? That's all you've got in his side. When you decide to bow down to Allah, you'll be successful.
That's true.
When an individual does it,
Yeah, and we couldn't advertise it ahead of time either, isn't it? That's the problem. We couldn't say, hey, you're coming down, bring your best down here, because obviously that would be a concern for you in terms not of their knowledge, but of other reasons. What's this guy here? I ignore illegal incorrect. Must be a Christian.
Hey, ladies.
What is he talking about here?
This guy here, they just got.
Oh, okay. So this is a Christian by the look of it.
A lot of Muslims. No. Christians don't have an Arabic. Generally, Christians don't have 5% of Christians don't have an Arabic.
Yes, they obviously don't understand how it works in the speaker's corner. That's okay, we can educate them if they want education.
80%.
Yeah, well,
My life.
remember they might not be from this country, so maybe in their countries, all this sort of stuff they don't do. You do indeed, and you'll see her in a moment. Oh, that's quicker. Really?
Because Islamic law, Allah does not show the scriptures, therefore there is no point for him to
Here's content over everything. He's trying to stream, but it's a battle. He needs to get the right kit. Check that phone out. That phone has been to Afghanistan and back. It's been in a serious battle. Orthodox Jew and a Muslim woman. This old boy is it's a girl. It's a girl. Stops. No, not the big thing. The little one that's speaking to the Orthodox Jew. No, the big thing tried to hide his face earlier. It's the same guy that I walked past that tried to hide his face. This old boy that you're going to see here, this Christian boy, I think he's going to have a heart attack. He shouts so loud.
That's my religion.
Yeah. No, I'm so sorry about it, especially having you available as well. Yeah, no, I came down on the train, so it's not driving, but still, it's 120 quid to get down here and back again, so that's what the Patreon's for, is to get down here, and then I bought a SIM card to stream as well. I mean, I can just record on a small camera, that would be much easier, but I like to do the live stream because people will tune in, on a Sunday, maybe if you've got anything to do. We're still talking, Nancy's still talking to this, yeah. Oh dear. Yeah, man, shit. Here's a Muslim guy. How are you, my good sir? I see him on camera a lot. Can I ask you a question? Because I see you speaking to, who else are you speaking to? Oh, you speak to quite a few people. Sometimes atheists, sometimes Christians. Yeah? Are you Muslim, right? Yeah, I can't remember your name. My name's Rob.
My name's Omar.
Mohammed. Oh.
Omar.
Oh, Omar. I'm interested. Do you think there's anything in the Quran that's true? Everything's true. Is there like an example that you could give me with some evidence?
You can the Quran talk about past events. Yeah, and then it's talking about future events. That time it was future.
Like a prediction.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like is there one that's got evidence that we know is true or that you believe is true? Like evidence, something we can.
Example, if 1,400 years ago the Quran revealed something and then it come to pass.
Like what? But like what?
There's many examples. Like the uncle of one of the uncles of the Prophet. There's a chapter in the Quran which says you will never become a Muslim. You will die in your sin. You never become a Muslim.
Okay.
So that was a time to disprove Islam. Example, I tell you, you will never become a Muslim, and then next day you come, I am Muslim now. So what I was saying yesterday.
But that's kind of a mundane claim, isn't it? You could say to me, Rob, you're never going to become a Muslim.
And then if I say God revealed that to me, and then tomorrow you change your mind, you become a Muslim. What will make me?
How do we establish whether it's just a lucky guess or whether God told you?
No, it's not lucky guess. What I'm saying, there's things that were given to prove Islam was Quran was not word from God. You see?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking for something.
Yeah, there's
something that's special, that's not just a mundane claim. If I say to you, you're not going to become an atheist, that's not an extraordinary
Now,
claim.
how
isn't
about
it?
tomorrow? If you claim it's God told you, and then tomorrow I become atheist, what that makes you?
Okay, that means that either
You
God
are
is
lying.
wrong or I misunderstood God.
No.
But
no,
what happens?
Don't say it's completely
Okay, but-
clear. It's not ambiguous.
What happens if you don't become an atheist?
That means you. If you say again,
What happens if you don't become an atheist?
that means you are right.
No, it doesn't.
No, if you say I'm going.
Doesn't mean God told me I'm right.
No. Listen, what I'm telling you that a chapter came down telling the prophet that his uncle will never become a Muslim.
Yes. So
And
the
then-
prophet told whose uncle? Who was
Yeah, he told the people.
He told the people his uncle will never.
Yeah, he told his uncle.
Oh, Abu Lahab, yeah.
Abu Lahab, it's something which is generally known. After a few years, he died and he never accepted Islam.
Okay, and do you think that that's a?
No, what
is
I'm
that like evidence for the
What I'm
Quran being
saying,
true?
there was a time, there was an opportunity to finish Quran, to finish the Prophet, to finish Islam.
Yeah, but it's such a mundane claim though. Tell you what, here's what.
You can say maybe it's a guess or
But how do you check that though? How do we establish how do we?
he never became, that's a well-known history. He never became a Muslim. There's some people, the family of the Prophet, they never became a Muslim. Some became, some never.
Okay, but we don't
So you
know.
cannot see anywhere where it says Abu Lahab was Muslim.
No, but we don't know that he wasn't quietly a Muslim, right? Because a lot of people before they die, they apparently want to become religious, right?
It is never known he was Muslim. There was people who are enemy of the Prophet. They died on that. They died. And some people changed their mind. Some people accepted him at the beginning. You know, things can happen. Like some people who can oppose it until they will die, but not accepting it.
Okay, but can you see from my point of view that that's not a very persuasive thing? Is there something better? What do you think? What's a really strong thing that you think is true in the Quran that's got evidence?
Everything.
Give me something that you think
I give
like
you that
really strong.
example.
Yeah, that one's
and
not
then
very good though,
example
is it?
like the scientist discovery of things that Muslim can point out. Yes, 1,004 years ago, 400 years ago. God mentioned
Thank
that.
you, laborist.
Yeah.
Sorry, what is your example?
What was your problem about the Quran?
Well, I don't think that there's anything true, but I could be wrong. So what I'm asking you is...
Anything? You mean that?
Well, I don't know what is true. I'm asking you
Don't
what...
say that. Don't say that. Even non-Muslim who don't accept the Quran, they cannot say the Quran is 100% false.
But I didn't say that.
No.
Listen to what I'm saying. I'm saying what is true and what can we have for evidence. Because you don't accept certain things in the Bible, right? Correct? Yeah. So think of me as being almost like a Christian towards the Quran. What I'm looking for, you gave me the example of Abu Huraira, and I didn't think that was such a good example. Give me something that's really solid. What do you think is like a really good thing that we've got evidence for? Evidence, something that
What
we
do you
can.
mean evidence?
So, something that's really strong. If I say to you, the Earth goes around the sun, and you say to me, provide the evidence, I could provide for you scientific evidence that the Earth goes around the sun, as opposed to what the Quran says, which is the sun goes around the Earth, right? So something solid.
Yeah, so you are picking some. You are not saying the whole Quran.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying give me something strong, because you're a Muslim. You say everything is true. No, you say everything is true.
No, I believe everything
Sure.
what God says is true.
I understand. Yeah. But which one is like a really strong
I
claim?
might not know certain things.
Sure, I'm not. I accept that you're not going to know everything. What I'm asking for, what do you think is the strong evidence?
I don't. What do you mean strong evidence?
Something that's very convincing for a
That's
Christian.
what I'm saying. There's Muslim can point out a lot of things like a scientist discovery today, which nobody, example, Keith Moore, the leading embryologist in Canada.
No, I would suggest
No,
not.
no,
Don't
no,
go
I'll
that
give you
way.
an
Though.
example.
Yeah, but if you're going to give me an example,
No, you cannot deny him because he's the
they do.
he's
But,
the expert of
but
that
Muslims in this path deny him, my friend.
field. How?
Many Muslims here, people like Sabur, hijab, all those.
Sabia?
Yeah, go and ask
No,
them.
Shabia got him.
Not Sabia, Sabur, for example,
Sabur.
and other people. They say don't go science with the Quran.
No.
So
No.
now you're
Don't say
disagreeing with your fellow
No,
Muslims.
don't say that. Don't say that. Anything
True.
Listen, there is science in the Bible, there is science in the Quran. There's no
Bible, only the Quran.
No.
Best,
One of the claims about the Quran.
No.
Hang on. One of the claims about the Quran is that we're made from water. Do you remember that one?
Clay.
No, not only us, everything.
Okay.
Not only us and.
And do you think that's true? All living things
Of course,
were created from water, right?
Yeah, of course, we have. It can mean created from water or living by water.
No, it doesn't. Those are two different things, though. isn't it?
Actually, the word didn't in the Quran. It didn't say created. It said that وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ. حَيٍّ means to live.
That's your interpretation,
No,
right?
no. The word حَيٍّ in Arabic doesn't mean to create. خَلَقَ means to
What's the verse? Let's look at the verse. What's the verse? What's the verse in the Quran that talks about that?
The Arabic word وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ. We made, or from the water. You can use that word as create.
If we go to Quran X,
وَجَعَلْنَا. But what I'm saying here, حَيٍّ is
that's important, isn't it? Because create and consists of water is not the same thing, right?
exactly.
Yeah, so surely the meaning is clear. If it says we were created from water, we know that's wrong, right? If it says we consist of water, we agree that that's true.
Okay, so pull the verse.
What's
I
the
wanna see what
verse?
the translation is.
Do we know what the verse is?
I don't know what it is, but I don't know the
54, let's have a look here. 25.
Do you think that cannot be right? Are we created from a rock? Or?
And he is the one who has created from water a human being. That's Sahi International. Pictor, he who hath created man from water. Yusuf Ali, he who hath created man from water. This is Surah 25, verse
Yeah, that's what I'm
54.
saying. The
So it
word
is creator,
ja'ala,
yeah?
the word ja'ala in the Quran, ja'ala is a verb to do. To do.
Yes,
But
created, yeah.
No, wait.
It says
No,
it
no,
there.
wait. I'm trying to tell you. The word ja'ala in the use, God said ja'ala. Ja'ala is a verb to do. But the word can have many meanings. The verb can have many. One of them is to create. Example, to take something, change into something. You can take your garage.
Yeah, but that's not for this stuff. It's not for this, my friend. It's for a different sentence you're talking about, isn't it? So this one is Kalaka.
No, khalaqa is to create. The word ja'ala is
Yes.
khalaqa is not used in that verse. The word
You're saying Kalaka is not used in this verse.
no, it's used ja'ala. Ja'ala.
You're saying it's
Ja'ala. Ja'ala is a verb, three-letter verb, meaning to do. Khalaqa is always means so, to create. Ja'ala has many meanings. To do, to change. Example, you take your bedroom, you make it into a shop. You can use the word ja'ala. Ja'ala has many meanings.
Yeah, but we're only talking about Kalaka here, aren't we?
No,
In
no,
this
but the
verse.
word khalaqa is not used in the Quran.
25:54.
It's not used in this sentence. The sentence you are quoting,
Yes.
the word khalaqa is not used. Ja'ala is used.
In 25:54.
Let me see.
25:54.
Okay, I understand. I'm talking about another one.
Another verse, yeah. So this one is Kalaka,
Yeah,
yeah?
khalaqa, yeah.
Okay, so we're not actually created from water, right? We know that's not true, right?
He said he create from water,
Yeah.
human being.
Yeah, and that's not true, right? We know that's not true.
Why?
Because human beings are not created from water, are we?
What are we
Do
creating?
you know how we created?
No, I'm asking you.
So semen, right? And an egg.
Yeah, but that's a water.
even if we drive it-
Wait, the Quran described that as a water.
No, okay, but that's wrong, right?
No. You might not agree it's water, but the Quran describes it as a water. You might not. You probably call water the water you drink.
Is that not what people mean by the word water?
No. The Quran.
You're just making things up, my friend.
No,
Come
the
on.
Quran uses sperm as water in the Quran. Not only here, in different places as well.
Okay, do you know how we're actually created? What does science say?
No.
Let's not look at the
I don't
Quran
know.
because obviously the Quran is not true, right?
I don't know science. I
Oh,
never
okay.
studied science. You can tell me, but you can. If that was a rock,
Are you made from water?
no. You know, sperm is water. That's it. It's
But
water.
are you created from water?
He said he created us from water. That means that's anything that
Is
you use.
H2O water, right?
Huh?
H2O is water, right? That's a scientific thing. I'm not trying to. That's the normal term. But we're not
Okay.
created from H2O.
Yeah, but are you saying that's that kind of water?
See, this is the problem with trying to use
CO2
science in the
is kind
Quran.
of water. You understand?
We contain water. We're not created from water.
That's what I'm saying. One verse.
You know
the verse I was saying. I thought you are quoting
Yeah, but
the
that's
one.
why I gave you it on the
No,
phone.
no.
So we've got the right verse. You tell you what would have been surprising, would have been very interesting.
He said from the water.
If-
He didn't say
If the Quran had said that, oh, you human beings, what you are made of comes from the essence of stars that have exploded in the multitude of galaxies.
what would you accept
That would have been, now that I would have,
Would you accept
now I would have got very excited. I would have gone, how the hell did they know that? I'm giving you an
Are you a
example of,
Christian?
no, I'm not a
So-
Christian. No.
So you don't
So-
follow any scripture.
No. Scripture, I've got no
So
good
what
reasons.
will
As we're talking about
What
now.
will convince you as word of God?
Something that is miraculous that I can verify.
Like
Maybe
what?
you can give me something. You tell me. You're the one claiming that it's true.
I'm asking you, if you are saying this is not enough, you need something else.
Yeah, but the things you've given me contradict what we know.
No, doesn't control. You might not understand that, but it's not, doesn't
Come on, brother.
If the verse is saying He created us from rock,
No, he created us from elements, carbon, nitrogen, hydrogen. And those can only be found in a star. Sorry?
so you can't say anything that is enough for you to accept, which is to accept as a word of God.
But we can't drink each other, right? Because water you can normally drink, right?
Yeah,
So
but that's what I'm saying. Water, we're talking about kind of water, the water you drink. There's certain water you don't drink.
but the Quran talks about water, doesn't it? Normal water
No.
that you can drink.
Ah.
That verse is
You
normal
see?
water?
How? No. It's not normal water. It's not the water you drink.
What water is it? How many tons of
That's what
water are
I'm
there?
saying. Sperm in the Quran has been described as water.
Where do you get that from? Have you got
Because
any
there's
evidence
a-
for that?
There's another verse that talk about water.
You speak Arabic, right? Yeah, it sounds like you speak Arabic, yeah? Yeah.
Yeah, there's another verse that talk about
What is ma? Ma. Is that water?
yeah, the Arab say water.
Water, yeah. So, but this verse, even in Arabic, doesn't talk about that,
No,
right?
no. You see, you call CO2 water.
No, I call H2O water.
Okay. You just say CO2 water, I think.
No,
you're asking if it's
I
water.
promise you it's H2O.
Okay. So you are describing now what kind of water we are talking about here. Do you understand?
Huh?
When you say water, you can describe what kind of water.
There
There's
is only
certain
one
water-
thing that every human understands by water.
No.
H2O, that's water.
No. What I'm saying
Anything
here,
else is some
I'm saying
other liquid.
We are asking what Arab call water. Ma.
So Arabs have got their own special version of water.
No. What is that?
I don't know, you're telling me,
No, I'm
you
asking-
suggesting
no,
that
no,
Arabs
what
have got
I'm
their own
saying,
version.
The Arab is calling that we call water ma. But what I'm saying, sperm has been described in the Quran as ma. Sometimes you describe something to something else. Doesn't mean it's the real thing.
Okay, so
You understand?
it-
Doesn't mean probably you are thinking the word ma is used in that verse. It means okay, the ma that I drink is.
okay, but you're saying that water can be also sperm.
No,
If somebody
exactly.
says in Arabic to you, bring me some ma, are you going to bring
No,
them
I said
sperm?
in the Quran.
Okay.
It has been described as that.
Yes.
Huh?
Okay.
Yeah, probably you can meet a woman say, I need water. Probably she's not thinking about it. You probably think you give her a glass of water. She's talking about something else.
Is there a word in Arabic that means semen?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so then if the woman asks for ma, she'd be confused, right?
That
Or
word
you
is not-
confused?
No,
or
that word is not used.
Quran is confused?
That word, no. What I'm saying, sometimes you know that. Sometimes we use certain words.
Okay, but remember what the premise was. You said to me that this verse is true in the
No,
real
no.
world.
What do
Yes?
you, no.
And now we're
I
talking
said it's
subjectively
true.
about what people might
It's true.
believe.
God spoke is true. God
What I'm
is true.
suggesting is I read the verse and it says we created from water, and that's not true.
That's why you understand that.
Yes.
How about if we?
How about if I make up some
How
other
do
belief?
Muslims understand that verse?
How do Muslims understand that verse?
Yeah. How about the way Muslims understand that?
So they just make up other words to suit
So I can
themselves?
say you are making it up. Because
I'm
you-
reading what the book says.
No.
You're making it up, it
No.
seems.
No. Listen, it's not because you are reading what the book says. Do you understand what the book says? That's the difference between just reading and understanding. You might read things which you don't understand.
Okay, is this
You
difficult?
understand?
Let's read it again because
Yeah.
maybe I'm misunderstanding something.
You are not understanding what I'm saying.
And he who hath created man from water and hath appointed him kindred by blood and kindred by marriage.
Yeah, that's what
Am I
I'm saying
misunderstanding
here.
when it says he's
Semen,
created by water?
Water is being described in this verse as what we are made of.
Yeah, but semen is not water, is it? You're asking me to accept your interpretation, right?
No.
Because
The
you said
way
I
Muslim
should read it. I'm
understand
reading it. There
No,
it
no.
is.
The way Muslim understand it, you are using the word ma in Arabic. Probably you speak Arabic or you know the word ma is used in Arabic language as water, but you have to understand, even if you believe scriptures, you use words to mean something else. Not really.
Oh, you use words to mean something else.
Exactly.
So how on earth can we find out what's true? If the interpretation, if the Quran says this, do I need to go somewhere else to find out if this is true? Do I need to read the tafsirs? Do I have to go and ask scholars, or what do I need to do?
You need to understand what God means.
How do I understand what God means if it's not clear in the Quran?
No, it's not clear to you because you want to understand it the way it is.
Oh, yes, I do want to understand it the way it is. Is that the wrong way to understand it?
No. When you use the word ma, you know ma is water. You start thinking, okay, it's the water we drink. But what I'm saying, water is many things. There's certain water you don't drink. You can use it, but you don't drink.
Okay, so if I wanted to join Islam and I'm reading this verse...
No, you can ask a Muslim what
so I have
that is, we don't understand it.
So I have to ask a Muslim.
Why don't you ask?
Okay, so
Are you saying you know more than everyone?
I don't know.
Who
says I know more than everyone?
No,
I don't
that's
know.
why you say, so I have to ask a Muslim.
The reason I'm
have to ask people
the reason I'm asking you that question is because many Muslims say this book can be read and understood by every human or anybody that's reasonably intelligent, right?
Not everything.
Okay, but this is quite straightforward.
Muslims themselves, there are certain things they don't understand.
Sure, there's a few things, but that's also a problem though, it seems to me.
No.
Because if God is sending a clear, concise book, then it should be easily understood by anybody like you and I. Neither of us are retards.
What do you mean easily?
When we read the verse, we go, I know what it means.
That 2 people, 5 people, or 15 people, 20 people all have the same understanding.
Yeah.
Can you ask permission
But
to join?
in written language, whatever religion that is, you don't have the same understanding.
You know what we are talking about. You just popped in and you don't know what we're talking about.
Correct.
What we are talking about.
You're talking about whether...
the verse,
because I've spoken to you.
You don't know. You don't know why. Why are we talking about?
But I've spoken to
Don't
you.
just. If you're an intelligent person, when you come, you wait. You ask us what we are talking about.
I've spoken to you before.
What did you?
Whatever you're talking about.
Did you talk to me about this subject we are talking about? Did we talk about?
No.
So when you.
But you're probably talking about the Quran.
correct, we're talking about a verse that talks about...
What kind of things? What kind of subject we are talking about?
Whether the book...
You don't know.
Whether it's a clear
Well, I'll give it
what
to
he
you.
said.
No, you don't know.
Is
You're
it-
just trying to jump with us.
Should it be understandable by anyone without having to refer to other people? I agree with you. It should be.
That's what I
But
think.
it's not.
That's what Muslims tell me.
And the reason
If
it's...
the Muslim said to me, hey Rob, you can't understand this Quran without speaking to the scholars, fine.
No.
But either you can or you can't.
Even scholars are wrong and can be wrong.
Sure.
It's useless.
But I've got a very clear verse here because I asked him originally what is a good verse that he could tell me or what is true in the Quran that we can get with evidence. And we pointed to
Are you
being
saying-
created with water.
Can I ask you something?
And then he said it's not
Are
water,
you
it's
saying
semen.
any book you read in the world, do you understand everything in that book?
No, this is why...
Are you saying that?
What am I saying?
Any book.
This is why
If you
religion...
read it, are you saying you understood every word in that book?
You're right.
No, but I'm not making
No.
the claim.
So
Hang on, my
agree,
friend.
you agree with me?
No,
now?
I'm not
about
agreeing
it.
So
with you.
you have to ask
No, my friend.
if
Muslims say that this book...
you got a lot of things here.
Yeah, it doesn't
You got
matter.
all.
I've got the evidence here.
Wait. You got all these cameras, iPhone, blah blah. Someone made these. They have anything
stick
you
with
bought.
this.
There's the instruction. You might not understand everything in that instruction. You can ask the people who are running, example iPhone. You call them, and then they will explain that to you. But you are telling me it has to be understood clear from A to Z.
No, you
What I'm
say
saying
that.
no. What I'm saying no. If you don't understand, you can ask the people who know.
I understand
They will
that point that
make
you're
you-
making, but that's
you might not agree what they're
That's
talking
irrelevant
about.
to this point though, isn't it?
You remember me?
No, you are saying because God is spoken, it has to be clear. When you take it,
Yes.
you read it, you
I
understand.
might just be
Yes.
holding it.
There's no. What I'm saying.
If I was God, I could write a book that's clearer than the Quran.
So why don't you write
I
it?
recognise you too, mate.
could.
How you doing? You everything good?
Here's the... I'm asking you. Remember...
Write a book which is completely clear than the Quran.
I'm asking you. You come with me.
No,
you came
you
to the
got
evidence with
knowledge.
me.
Write a book when anyone in the world that takes
friend.
it can read and understand it. What does this
We
stop
went
you
to the
writing?
verse that you said was good evidence. That's what I'm asking.
No, be humble. Be humble. We have that kind of in our. You see, you might know something which I don't know. I might know.
And you are-
something
yes,
which
sure.
You understand?
The claim about this book. Let's stay with the book. Please stay with the book. The book, the claim is, this is a fantastic book. If you read it, you can understand it. I'm reading three translations. They all say humans were created from water, and I'm saying that's not true. Am I misunderstanding the clear verse?
Ma, I use here. What kind of water that is describing? You don't agree with me. You agree. You might not
But it
understand.
doesn't say that, though.
You agree. You don't understand everything. So you come to me in that particular verse. I'm telling you what that means. You don't agree with me. Do you understand? Go and ask another Muslim. Go ask thousands, millions of Muslims. People who have knowledge in Islam. Ask them about this. They won't tell you the water we drink.
Tell me something.
You might not agree.
What is your general understanding of how we are created?
You are not even Arab. You are not even Arab to say, okay,
How are we
have
created?
you checked out Ma in Arabic?
yesterday.
Have you investigated the word Ma?
Ma.
Yeah.
Ma is water. We agree
No,
that's water. What do I need to investigate? I'm asking you about this verse. Can we stick with the one verse?
Yes, stick with that advice. But
What
I
do you
want
want-
you to understand that. There's not everything you know. If you don't understand, ask people who know. They will explain to you. And then agree with that. If you don't agree, it's okay.
Okay, that's fine.
But don't claim me.
Should I accept what the Quran says, or should I accept what you say? Because you are not agreeing with the Quran.
I agree with the Quran. If you
No,
don't
you
agree with me.
don't. The Quran says we created from water. You say to me, no. Water can mean sperm or
Exactly.
semen.
Exactly. Why don't you agree with me?
Where's your evidence for that? Because
No,
remember,
why don't
we
you
talked about
agree with
evidence. Show me where the evidence is.
Why don't you agree with me?
Is the ovum water?
I'm asking you, why don't you agree with me?
Because
You
what
don't understand Arabic.
The reason I don't agree with you,
You are reading the
you asked me.
Arabic, the verses in Arabic translated in English.
Yes, three clear verses.
You don't understand. That's why I'm asking you, have you investigated that ma, what that is?
I'm reading the verses in the Quran, and you agree that it means halak, right?
That's why I said you can read any book. You might not understand what the sentences or the chapters in the book. You might not understand. You can read it in English. You know English, but you might not get the real meaning, what the intended meaning of that sentence. The one who wrote it, what he meant.
How are we created then? How are we created? Tell me how we created.
What do you mean?
How did you become like you are? Before you came out of your mummy, how did that happen? From water.
No, you are describing now semen as water now. Are you agree with me?
I am. You guys are Muslims.
You don't.
I'm just reading the Quran here. It says He has created man from water. It does not say, and I've got 3 translations. We can take 10 translations. It does not say He was created from semen.
The word semen is not used in the Quran.
It's not used. So it's an interpretation
Every semen,
of yours.
every verse that's talk about semen, the word ma is used.
Okay, so it's actually
If I tell you it means semen, you don't agree because you want it to be water.
I would like it to match science.
So what kind of water then?
Is that
because we have many waters in the world. What kind of
No,
water?
we only have one water. What water?
Do you drink
H2O is
drink
water.
toilet water?
It's water, H2O.
No, do you drink it?
Sometimes. You can drink toilet water. Did you know that? Before you pee in it, you can drink toilet water. It's H2O. I think we had a battle. No. Some of the people are asking, how does it get from water to human? The people who are watching, this gentleman thinks that the word water is actually semen. So he's interpreting the water
in
to
that
mean
verse,
semen.
it has been described.
Okay, but you need more than semen, right?
No, that's what I'm saying. When we talk about water, we have many kind of waters in the world.
Okay, let me accept for a moment that it's true that it actually means water.
What kind of water you are saying?
Okay, now I'm going to say to you,
What kind of
I'm
water?
going to agree with
Because
you for
water
a moment.
is a big word.
I'm going to agree with you.
You have to describe that water now. You see, when you say water, we describe water. We give adjective to the noun.
Okay. For the sake of argument, I'm going to agree that what the word water, you think it means semen. Is that what we need to become human beings? Or is there something more?
For those choices. The reason it's worse than that is because the God they took off made crocodile and gazelle for dinner.
We have a long pause here while the gentleman is looking it up. Omar is looking something up as far as I can tell.
You see? This is I googled the word ma in Arabic. There's many meanings in itself.
Okay.
But you want to see it as just water, probably water we drink.
Okay.
Water we drink.
So as far as you're concerned,
Yeah, but
the
this
word
is
water
Arabic
here
word.
means semen.
Actually,
Okay.
we are focusing on Arabic word, not English word.
Okay.
Are you defining Arabic?
I'm just
language
reading what it
for the
says here, my
Arab?
friend. I'm just reading what it
No,
says
no,
here.
I'm asking you.
But let me assume for a moment that I accept your interpretation that it's semen. Is semen all that's required to make a human, or is there something else? Here we go. My friend, pay attention here. What are you looking for? Do you want to look up what else there is apart from semen? Here's the thing. Even if I accept your interpretation that the word water actually means semen, that still is not enough to make a human being.
Nothing is enough for you. So is you.
No, not enough for anybody, my
No,
friend.
no, to you. There's over billions of Muslims. There's trillions of Muslims since Islam started
we have
until today, until the end of life.
Omar.
That's enough for them. What is enough for me might not be enough for you. What is enough for you might not be enough for
Do
me.
you-
But don't say it's not enough for everyone.
Do you care what's true, Omar? Do you care what's true?
Do you know there's Muslims? You know there's Muslims.
Do you care if something's
So
true or not true?
You are claiming that's not true. Even
No, I'm
even
asking
your
you
word,
if you care what's true. That's what I'm asking.
everyone cares.
Everybody cares. Okay.
No, actually,
If
not
we have
everyone.
semen-
Some people don't care about
Omar, if we have semen on its own, what does that give us? Does that give us a human, or do we need something else?
I don't know what we need.
Oh, okay.
But
Is it worth finding out?
no,
No.
I'm not a scientist.
It's not worth
I'm not a
finding out.
biologist. Probably you studied about this subject.
No, I'm not a biologist or scientist, but I've got a general understanding that semen is not enough to create a human being. So even if I accepted your interpretation of the word water meaning semen, we also require an ovary, an egg, to be fertilized. Doesn't talk about that.
No, no.
Does it?
Do you understand what the Quran is talking about here? The Quran is telling you how weak were you.
How what?
How weak. You were nothing. You were brought up. And then look at the verse. Read the whole verse.
Remember what we...
No.
Omar, you are
I want you to read
you are
the verse.
dodging now. Omar, you're dodging.
Listen.
What was the reason
What-
you brought this verse, Omar?
No.
Can you
What
remember?
I'm saying,
I think you
God
talked
is
such a
telling
lot
you
you
how
forgot
weak
it.
were you. And then, you know that. You were nothing, and then you were a baby, you grew up, now you are a young man, you can do lots of things. Imagine, that's why the Maccans never believe you when you die, you come up, you will be resurrected.
Why
the
did-
Prophet kept
Omar?
telling them, and then they wouldn't understand. You
Omar.
die, you finish, and the Prophet said, the Quran said, you don't think you were nothing,
Yes.
and today you are something, tomorrow when you are die, you will be brought to life.
Okay, but Omar,
It's just to make your intellect think and understand, okay, I was nothing.
why did we go to this verse, Omar? Why did we go to this verse? Can you remember?
Because
You've forgotten? What did we go here for? Because you claimed that this was something that is verifiably true. Remember? I appreciate there's been a lot of talking and you might have forgotten. But we went to this
What do
verse
you mean
because
by-
you said to me, we are created from water, and that's a verifiably true statement.
yeah. If the Quran calls semen as water, where do you have problem? You have to have semen to.
Okay, fine. If you have semen, you still don't have a human being.
Why don't you have Why do you have problem? Ma and semen. You're not Arab.
The problem I have,
Yeah.
Omar,
If you understand, you're not Arab. You shouldn't have problem.
I should have a problem. I'm reading
Why?
what it says.
It's not English.
Because
it's not
what it
English. It's
says-
Arabic word. I
because-
don't understand that.
What? Do you want me to explain why or no? You're just going to talk over me.
Listen, if you go to Arab people, they tell you, say, I see, and wait, they say, okay, water. You know what water is in Arabic? And then you see the same water in some word used in the book. So, does it mean the water I know or not? And then they will explain to you, no, the water, what that is.
The people that translated this, is this an accurate translation? This is Pickthall, Sahi International, Yusuf Ali, are these?
They are well known.
They're well known,
They are
yeah?
well known. I think they are one of the first people. Is not the first to translate it in English.
So-
yeah. But what I'm saying is not because it's in English, you might not understand the meaning of it until someone explains to you. You know, because you read it.
Okay.
Anyhow,
We've been through this though, Omar. We've been through this, Omar, already. And even if I accept it, hi there.
Well, hello, you
Hi, yeah.
What was the question?
We went to a verse in the Quran which Omar suggested was true.
Okay, what
Which
is
is
the verse?
25:54.
Okay, what is the verse?
And it says, and it is he who has created from water a human being and made him lineage and marriage.
Oh, yeah?
And I'm reading that as H2O water. Muhammad here, Omar, apologies, was suggesting
what
that
verse is
doesn't actually mean water.
What
it
verse
means
is it?
semen. 25:54.
What is your body made out of?
Cells.
No, what is your body? No, what is your body made out of?
Cells.
Yeah,
Made out of cells?
There's no water.
We contain water, yeah?
Yeah, and your body is how much percentage? How much?
70%.
How much percentage?
70%.
No, 95.
No.
Yeah, facts, man.
Okay. Fantastic. That
What was the verse?
okay. You always get these crazy guys that'll jump in here. 25:54. So we had a young man there that jumps in. You always get this in Speaker's Corner. The fact that we're, according to this guy who's anti-science, 95% water means what exactly? 25:54. Omar, I'm not sure we're going to get anywhere because even if I
cannot
accept,
get nowhere.
but I'm trying to understand it, Omar. And,
No,
and
because-
you're giving me your interpretation, and even if I accept your interpretation, we still do not have enough stuff to make a human being. We don't have enough material because semen on its own doesn't make a human being. So we require semen plus an egg plus 2 human beings, right? Plus sperm, which is sperm is in the semen, right? So sperm, semen, an egg, an ovary. That's a lot more than water, seems to me. Is Ibn Abbas Arabic? I'm not sure, is he? Ibn Abbas. He is Arabic.
Arab.
He's Arab.
What Ibn Abbas said about
Ibn Abbas agrees with us that we are created from water. So if Ibn Abbas is,
what Ibn Abbas says.
I mean, even if we look at the tafsirs, right? Ibn Kathir. What is it? 25, 25:54. 25. Yes, there's lots of people that shout in the background here. And it's he who's created man from water. It means that it created man from weak nufta, it says here. And gave him shape and formed him. And
what is
completed his
nutfa?
form. Nutfa is semen, right?
Can you read again?
Liquid.
No, can you read again?
Yeah. And he was created from water means he created man from a weak nufta, then gave him shape and formed him.
Okay, the word nufta is used
As what?
as semen in the Quran as well.
Oh, we're not talking about nufta. Okay.
No, nutfa.
Yeah,
Nutfa.
that's the wrong one. Yeah.
No, this is actually he's telling you ma'a in this sentence you are reading, it means nutfa. Nutfa is a semen.
Apparently that's not.
understand?
Apparently that's
You
not
see?
true.
Ibn Abbas is supporting me if you are reading.
No, but apparently that's not true. Then we need to. It's difficult because there's so many. I can't see it on here. Maybe it can just be repeated there again so that I can see it. Which one is 25:54 in Al Jalalain? Because I don't see Ibn Abbas here. Where is Ibn Abbas?
You see?
I'm looking at.
I read the tafsir, he said وهو نطفة الإنسان. I told you the same thing. You might not agree the meaning in that,
But everybody's agreeing that it's water, right?
all Muslims, any Muslim you ask, they know.
What do they know?
They know Ma'a is not the water you are talking about, the water you are drinking or you are taking shower with.
Here we go, Ibn Abbas. And it is he who created man from the water of the male and the female, and hath appointed him kindred by blood, and who unmarriageable. Unmarried, is that? Can't see, I'm a bit dark there. Unmarriageable, yeah. So Ibn Abbas says it's created from water as well. Oh, okay. I'm not sure we can go any further
Why do you
here.
have problem? Muslim tells you.
Well, because I read the Quran.
Muslim tells you that's not the water you are talking about. It's something else. What do you have
Okay,
problem?
but another Muslim says it is water. But
You
Omar,
have to debate here based on Arabic language. No, based on Arabic language. You should debate based on Arabic language.
is Ibn
But
Abbas,
what?
should I trust Ibn Abbas? Or should I trust Omar in Speaker's Corner?
You can trust anyone
Because
you
you're not
want.
saying the same thing.
You can trust anyone you want.
Okay, but you're not saying the
You
same
don't
thing.
trust God. How can you trust me? Trust
But
Ibn
you're saying
Abbas?
something different from Ibn Abbas.
You don't trust the Quran. How can you trust Ibn Abbas or
Omar,
me?
pay attention. Ibn Abbas is saying something different from you.
Why Ibn Abbas say?
Let me read it to you again. Goodness, I just read it. Now I have to go back and find it again. Okay, can you provide for me anybody that says it's not water? Can you
The
provide
first
anybody?
verse is in Nutfa.
No, that was wrong. It was my mistake. I went to the wrong verse. My mistake. I apologize. Ibn Abbas. There we go. Okay. Ibn Abbas. And who hath created man from water. And Ibn Abbas says, from water of male and female, and hath appointed him kindred by blood, who unmarriageable.
Finish?
There it is.
Where it says where Ibn Abbas told you says in that verse, Ma doesn't mean
He just said water.
but it's not because he said water, the Quran says Ma. But do you understand what he's talking
Okay,
about?
but Ibn Abbas is saying water though, brother. And
He's
Omar is
using
saying, no, it's not water.
No. If Ibn Abbas is here, you ask Ibn Abbas, this ma in the Quran, does it really mean water or mean something else?
Well,
No.
So,
Ibn Abbas is
is
not
this wrong?
telling you.
Is this wrong?
No, it's not wrong.
It's not
Ibn
wrong.
Abbas is not telling, is not describing ma. Is he saying ma in that sentence means this kind of water?
seems to say that there.
No.
It says that man was created from water. This is Ibn Abbas tafsir.
I will show you Ibn Abbas.
He's not saying it's created from semen or some other version of water. As far as I know, every human being understands there's one version of water. Water is H2O. Let's go to Al-Jalalayn. Yeah, my pronunciation. Okay, this is the last one, and I think we're done here because I'm not sure.
You see?
Let me bring it up. Yep.
Here, the word money is used in the place of water. It means money. Money means semen.
Tafsir al-Jalalayn. And he who hath created man from water.
This is Tabari. Okay, Jalalayn. I got Jalalayn. What's Jalalayn? What Jalalayn said today? I got Jalalayn as well.
What's the point?
The point is that.
Water or semen, it doesn't make
No,
a
it does
difference.
make a difference.
Why?
You tell us the relevance.
Are you back again?
You see?
You ran away, now you're back
see?
again.
You are reading Jalalayn.
Don't stand in front here so we can get you on camera. Well then,
Wait, brother. You are reading Jalalayn. I got Jalalayn. Jalalayn used the water as nutfa.
no, he didn't.
Read. Because I got Jalalayn.
You're showing your beautiful face to the camera.
I
have already.
You have.
Tabari.
And people still watch
The
it.
Tabari.
Yes.
Is it?
Yeah, of
Are
course.
people blind?
Why would they be
Are they
blind?
lost?
You see,
Are they blind?
Tabari used the water nutfa.
He who has created man from water.
Like great man for water.
Listen. This is the Tabari.
So now we've got another one.
Tabari, Jalalayn, they all.
See, I'm okay with you filming me, so you should be okay with me filming you. Come on, this is Speaker's Corner. You can't run away here. No.
Run away.
The rules are here, you get recorded, brother. You can't not be recorded.
Brother,
You can go
I
away if
want
you
you
don't
to
want to.
accept. I want you to accept what Muslims say about that ma. You might not agree. You can take your own view.
What do
but
Muslims say according to you, Omar?
What Muslims agree that ma is semen.
Okay, let's
You
agree.
understand?
Okay, let's agree that's the case. I'm accepting that for the sake of this conversation. What about it? We are not created from semen, are we?
So it's no problem.
No, but Omar, we are not created from semen alone.
Okay.
How much percent of water have you got in you? Or you not?
You can.
Do you know how we are
No,
created?
you can say anything.
Water in you.
We contain water. Are we created by water?
So
Doesn't make
okay.
Do you go to school? Do you know how we
The
created?
Quran says that because I was focused on that verse where it says the word khalaqa is not used. It's used jala.
Okay, my friend. I think we're at a dead end. Oh, Omar,
Nice to meet you.
I'm not sure it was a pleasure, but it was
No,
interesting
there's
speaking to you.
nothing
Thank you.
There's nothing will make you change because
No, well, I read the Quran. When I read the Quran, it tells me this. Omar in Speaker's Corner tells me something different. Ibn Abbas tells me what the Quran says.
Ibn Abbas
You
agree
disagree.
with me.
No, he doesn't.
Jalalain agree
No,
with
no,
me.
no. Ibn Abbas
Yeah,
doesn't agree with
Tafsir
you. No.
at-Tabari, they all say ma.
Thank you, thank you.
Ask any Muslim what that means. Ask any Muslim. You might agree what they tell you. They will tell you that ma is him.
Yes, but they disagree with what the Quran
Or
says.
you
And
go and
Ibn
you
Abbas
can
says.
read and write.
So-
Go and investigate what Muslim, what scholars.
But
Muslim
Omar, I'm
scholars-
granting you that it means semen.
No, you are
It still
disagreeing.
is not
all
correct.
Muslim, all scholars, 1,400 years history about that verse. You are saying
Rob, yeah?
Yes,
How
hi.
you doing, my man? You
Good,
okay?
how are you?
Very good. You're not wearing the other hat.
Yes, sometimes I wear the other hat, but easier to transport with this hat.
It suits you, though.
I like the glasses, I like those glasses.
Thank you.
Very nice.
They're easy.
The pop-up, yes, the pop-up ones, very nice. Okay. Okay, Omar, thank you so much. I think even if I grant you semen, it's still not correct.
Ma
So,
and water the Arab use. Because what ma?
hard, yeah.
Water. We have to describe what kind of water we are talking
Okay.
about. Because it's just a noun.
But Omar,
We give a
Omar, I've agreed with you that it's semen for the sake of this
be
discussion.
Muslim.
It's still not
All
true.
Muslim agree with that.
It's still not true. I've agreed with you that it's semen. We are not created solely from semen, are we?
No,
Omar.
we are debating what ma means.
No.
All we've been
We
talking
are
about.
debating whether this verse is
You
true.
don't agree ma. You say ma means water. If you go to the Arab countries, you ask drinking water, say ma, they will give you water. If you ask semen, they don't give you.
Omar, I'm agreeing with
thing.
you. I'm accepting that it's semen.
Do
Do you accept? Stop talking now.
So there's no problem.
Omar,
There's no talking.
for a moment.
You agree?
Omar, if you talk non-stop, then it becomes a monologue.
I'm
No, hang on. Stop talking for a moment. I'm accepting it's semen. Is that sufficient to create a human being?
So now
Okay.
we move on to
Thank
another
you.
thing. Innit?
So, if you're
Your
claiming
focus
that
that
this is a
not-
literal
that's
verse,
not semen, it's
then
water.
even under your interpretation, it's incorrect.
All the scholars with Jalalain, I told you. You brought up Ibn Abbas. I didn't bring him. Ibn
Well, I brought him
is
because
one of
Ibn
the
Abbas-
you cannot read the Quran without Ibn Abbas. You understand? So he told you the same thing. You brought this word nutfa before me.
No, my friend.
You quote the word nutfa.
Ibn Abbas,
is a
Arabic.
nutfa. Jalalain said nutfa. And the Tabari said nutfa.
Omar, if you talk non-stop, it becomes a monologue.
I'm so happy.
You know the difference between a monologue and a dialogue?
May I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
So, if say, for example, you say semen is not sufficient,
Yeah.
does this verse exclusively mentions that humans are just made out of that? I mean,
Well,
I could mention it, but the
Yes.
other,
let me just make sure I'm quoting you the verse correctly.
yeah.
And it's he who is created from water, a human being, and made him a relative by lineage, marriage, etc. So in the Quran it says it's created from water.
Yeah.
Now we know if we take that literally, that's not true. You agree?
yeah.
Because no human being is created from water. You
Yeah.
agree? So Omar suggests that in fact what it really means is that word water can be interpreted as semen. And I'm saying even if I grant him that word water is semen, that's still insufficient to create a human being. So if you are looking at this verse literally, which is what Omar was suggesting,
Yeah.
then it doesn't match what we understand by science. Which is why some Muslims in the park say do not try and make the Quran and science match, because you can't do that. But Omar suggests that it's true, and that's where we
What
have
I'm
the
saying, the
disagreement.
Quran
You
is all
understand?
about science.
But you see, I mean, just going back to that verse, like when it's mentioning that format, does it mean that that's exclusive? That's only what a human is made of? Because I think there are also other verses in the Quran where Allah talks about the end stage of the human by describing the human body, the bones will turn into dust, right? So
Okay, but that's a different. But then surely that contradicts this. Because we understand that this doesn't. If you're going to accept that as literal, are you accepting this as literal or not?
You see, no, you know how I would reconcile that. I would reconcile it in the sense where I would say, well, in that verse, one component was mentioned, and in another verse, another component was mentioned.
Okay, so what this should actually say is that humans contain water. It shouldn't say we're created from water. Would that be more accurate? You agree? If you were writing it and you weren't looking at this, we contain water would be better, correct?
No, the Quran, there's another verse now I was telling you because I didn't understand you are talking about another verse.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, you can see. So it's better not to say anything scientific about the Quran. It's better that way, yeah?
Maybe, but this verse and the other verses still, from my understanding, do not necessarily conflict because, like I said, one component is mentioned there, another component is mentioned there.
Yeah, but that's only if you ignore what the verse actually says. So if you're going to take it in your own kind of airy-fairy interpretation, you can try and get them to match. But we've got to be a bit more accurate than being kind of airy-fairy.
I feel like if the verse had said, and the human being is only made out of water, then you would have a very strong case, a stronger case.
Yeah.
I'm not saying your case is not strong.
Okay, what do we understand?
Stronger case. Yeah, sorry. You see where I'm coming from? I'm trying to. It would be a stronger case.
Minal ma. The word means from, but it has meaning among some of the words.
So it means from of.
Yeah, means.
Are you interpreting it different to what the verse says, Omar?
No. You're not understanding.
You're trying to give me an Omar interpretation. Should I accept Omar or
What he's saying is one of the elements that I mentioned there.
crap.
So the word I'm concentrating now to make you understand. Means some. Brother. Don't debate on that. You might not agree if God is speaking here, the Quran is speaking.
No, I don't, because this
is
seems
okay. But when you debate on Arabic language,
I'm not debating on Arabic language.
you are.
I'm debating on what it says here.
He's debating on ma in Arabic means water. Simple. Ma means water.
Okay, we've
So
been here, we've
now
gone over this.
you have to describe what kind of water we are talking about. Because water is a word.
Okay, Omar, you and I have had this
listen,
conversation for the last 25 minutes.
You can come
Okay,
to my
we've said it
house.
over and
You
over.
say, Omar, I want water. But actually, it's not any water I will give you. You are asking. You are asking about
25 minutes. You better say La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah now.
Same
If
thing.
I was to be honest, if I read any book that said man was created in the womb or whatever, anything to do with that, with water, I personally would just say, well, obviously, when a woman gives birth, the water comes out, so you don't need to.
Okay, but you
just being honest.
Yeah, but
I'm not Muslim, but I'm just
sure,
saying.
but you're just interpreting it incorrectly. So you've got to be honest, but you've also got to be accurate.
Right.
Because if you're honest and you're inaccurate, that doesn't help, right?
That's right. So
If you read that verse, what does that say to you as a non-Muslim?
So is it saying that person
Now
is,
read it. Don't ask me what it's saying. Read it yourself.
and it is he that's created from water, a human being, and made
not to be used.
That's all we need.
The word money.
and ever is your Lord.
I'm telling you,
So it says created from water. As a non-Muslim, if you heard somebody, if I came to you and I said humans were created from water, what would
what
you
kind
say
of
to me?
water then?
That's what I'm trying to say. Is what I would say to you.
What would you say to me?
I would say, well, it must be.
If you are intelligent being,
If I would say it must be. I might be wrong, as you said. I could be absolutely could be wrong.
Why would you say it must be though?
but use your
But
own
I'm saying,
intellect.
okay, it might be.
If I didn't bring you a book
Use
and I
your
just
own
walked up to you in the street
Yeah.
and I said, hello, what's your name, sir?
Yeah, Eddie.
Eddie, I'm Rob. If I say, hey Eddie, humans were created from water, what would you say to me? Would you go,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
true, or would you go, yeah, maybe?
No, I would say
Yeah,
yes because
yeah, that's wrong.
every mammal that I know of,
Yes.
and humans particularly, when we give birth with the waters breaking. So if a woman didn't have any waters, then I personally would say, no, that's wrong. Why is that water? That's what I'm just being honest. So it could be
Yeah,
that.
but Eddie, that's also wrong because it's amniotic fluid, it's not water.
Okay.
So it's not water either.
Yeah,
See,
but
Eddie, what some Muslims, not all, what some
More
Muslims,
closer to us than
Eddie,
you.
what some Muslims are saying is that this verse is accurate. Yeah, but
You are asking his
Eddie,
own understanding.
some Muslims say this verse is exactly how we were created.
Oh, then they're wrong.
That's the
May
point.
I ask,
And I
can you
think that's
brush
what
up
you
on my
need to
science?
do. That's what I used to
Can
do.
you brush up on my science? So, I always understood
That's what I used
that
to do.
our
That's
body
why I say to you guys,
is like there's a makeup of water.
There's a substantial made up of water, yes. But we're not created from water. We're created from semen, sperm, and an egg, right? Correct? Yeah, and none of that's said. But even if I accepted Omar, who we've been going backwards and forwards, he claimed that the water was semen. But even semen is not enough to create a human.
I think
So
that's
even
yes.
if you claim that this verse is accurate,
But the Quran
and you take Omar's interpretation, it's still wrong.
But the Quran, he told you, it's not
saying
only
semen's water. I think they're stretching there.
Yeah.
That's
I think
not
so
only-
too.
That's a
Eddie.
verse.
That's
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the
there's many verses that talk about the creation of man. Exactly. I told
another
you.
word.
He brought that first.
Again, we see semen.
But I'm just reading the Quran
I will show you.
accurately, am I not?
You are, that's what I'm
Thank
saying.
you.
I will show you a verse where the semen has been described by water and there has been described how it flows. You know when it's coming out from this man?
But we're not talking about the out part, are we? We're talking about this particular part.
And that's what I'm saying. That is being used in many verses.
No, yeah. But I think what, to be
Even
honest,
if we
what
accept
he
the
is
semen.
saying is in a general prospect, when we keep on looking at different verses, like for instance where it says the sun sets in a muddy pool, blah 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 blah, is that that the first man was created from a clot of blood, blah 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 blah. Is that you need
Yeah, we're done
when
with that. He's walked away
when
anyway.
they're not scientific, the general consensus is that the Quran clearly is not scientific, and on that I would agree with you that it's best for Muslims to say, well, the Quran is not specifically, not scientific, and I would agree with you on that consensus.
It's quite
not
funny. It's quite funny
generally
because it says
scientific.
also, and we've made man out of clay.
Yeah, that's also not scientific. Yeah. So best to take it metaphorically, right? Because there's even Muslims in Speaker's Corner who say don't go with science in the Quran because they understand the Quran is not scientific.
Oh yeah.
But Omar here was. I asked him, and maybe I can ask you. Is there anything in the Quran that is true that we know with evidence that you can provide evidence for? Is there something? And when I spoke to Omar,
2 points, because 1 point could just be by coincidence or borrowed. So you've got to have at least 2 witnesses, 2 points.
well, we're asking for something that's true in the Quran that we've got evidence for.
I mean,
Give us an example. What would you say?
There's one verse in the Quran in Surah Al-Rum, and this is prior to the event that Allah says that the Romans and the Persians would succumb to the Arab Muslims, and that actually took place eventually in history.
Eventually.
Yeah, in history. So this was a verse that was revealed before, and then it did happen.
Okay, but eventually is not really. That's not a miracle or a prediction, is it? Because I could
it's
say
a prophecy.
eventually, but I could say eventually we're going to discover mobile phones that we can put in our fingers.
Sorry, the grammar was wrong.
Oh, okay.
What I meant was that when the verse was revealed at that time, the Arabs were being addressed as the desert dogs, right? They were like just like this minute tribe of people who were fighting each other.
Yeah.
Then the verse came down and said, and you will defeat the Persians and the Romans. And that happened.
Okay, so
Already happened. So it was a prophecy that was historically.
okay, so let's just check something. For me, if I were to accept the prophecy, there's one word that would define it for me. That's the word precision, and that would cover everything: the exact time of day, the exact date, the exact number of people, the exact location, the exact outcome. Do we have that for this prediction of yours?
Well, I have the verse, and then the context of it. Like, so there must be more. There's more detail to it, of course. I mean, historically speaking, when the verse was sent down, and there also hadiths that support that verse. So if you look into it, you will find that.
It's I think it's 3 to 9 years, isn't it, or 6 to 9 years? That's not really precise, is it? I mean, if we were being a bit skeptical, we'd go, I'm not sure I'd accept that as a. It might be a prediction from a human that something might happen, but we wouldn't suggest that that's from God or anything. We might say, hey.
Yeah, I see things. Like, I understand your perspective. I understand your perspective because you come from the school of skepticism, and it has to be to the point. So I guess I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So we need to be a bit stronger.
But that prophecy is also because you were asking me for proof, it's part of other things. Let me think of another one.
Yeah, sure. Something that we could verify, either scientifically or historically or something like that, for example.
That's really bad. I can't think of anything.
It's not that I don't.
It's not that I don't know, but it's just I can't think of anyone right now. But yeah, like you said, the Quran is the way it's the form of it. It's not always precise with things.
And me as a non-Muslim, I'm expecting it to be very precise because it's coming from a creator God that understands and has created everything. So that's why I said to you, my word is precision. If it was precision to the point, you get my full attention. But because it's kind of very imprecise and ambiguous, I've got my doubts, as you might expect.
May I refresh what I just said? Just repeat what I said.
Yeah.
There is actually a verse in the Quran where it says, and there are unclear verses and there are clear verses. And I think so that's what it is. So there are verses that are very clear and then they're very ambiguous verses, like you said. And that's just you have to be honest as a Muslim and acknowledge that. You wouldn't find I'm ignorant myself, but I can't think of something where I can say, well, that's a verse where there's like precision like that. I can't think of any. No.
Oh, let me stand a little bit this way. Sorry.
Yeah, I can't think of any. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist. The Roman and the Persian thing, I think for me it's quite precise.
But I guess you could see my point that 3 to 9 years is not precise for me in any way. And it happened in the lifetime of Muhammad, isn't it, as well?
Yeah,
so it wasn't after his death. So, but just for me,
the verse doesn't say after his death. It just says he will overcome.
Yeah, but it happened within his lifetime. But for me, it would be. That's why I say something that's precise. If the Quran had said, for example, oh, you humans, you will invent a technology that will allow you to communicate with each other almost instantly in 1435 years after the death of Muhammad, and it will allow you to use what seems like bolts of lightning from the sky. Now that would be a little bit more. I'd still need a bit more than that, but that would be kind of getting my attention. You understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah, really beautiful what you just said. There are actually traditions where the Prophet Muhammad says there are like predictions like that. But you see, one thing we have to also consider when you look at the precision is that we have to consider the zeitgeist of that time, which is things that were happening, context, etc. Then the other thing is the linguistic and the language. So we always have to remember, even though it is an internal revelation from God, I believe, it will always use the present language. Do you understand? So it won't talk about it won't mention Wi-Fi, right? It will mention Wi-Fi in a different way because the Quran, when you look at the Quran, it's a very proactive but also very reactionary.
I appreciate that that's your summary of it. But from an external point looking in, you can see I'll be very skeptical of that because I understand you're trying to, in your mind, make it seem to be good for yourself.
Is it not logical that you won't have a prophet or you won't have someone or anyone going to being in the 7th century and then mentioning, well, in 1,400 years you're going to have Wi-Fi and then that's going to be this car called Audi. It will always mention it in the language that people understand it because remember, the prophecy at that time is for the people.
Okay, but there are things in the Quran that nobody understands, correct? Nobody, not even scholars. There are certain things in the Quran, right, that nobody understands.
I can recall a verse where it says, and there are verses that a minute of you will understand.
Or even nobody understands, right?
You can't, there's not a human.
So he could have put in Wi-Fi, even if they didn't understand at that time, he would have known that we would have understood it now, right?
Not really, because again, remember, this is a conversation between human at that time with humans now. It's like we're having a conversation.
Let me just check with you. Do you think this book is for all time and all people, or do you think the book specifically refers to the 7th century?
No, it's a book for all time, but it's still going to be revealed in the language that it's present. Like I said, remember the Quran is reactionary, imperative, so it's obviously going to use the language that is being spoken at that time. And I feel like as well with language, since it's evolutionary, right? Language, the Arabic language still evolves. We can work back. We can like literally walk.
Yeah, but the problem with going backward is. Yeah, but the problem with going backwards is that we use post hoc reasoning, because if you're already a believer, you will look for ways to make it seem that it's accurate. From the outside, I will read it as it was written at the time and say, does that match with today? You will look from today and go backwards and go, how do we make it fit today? I won't be doing that. I will be doing what I think is a slightly more intellectually honest way, which is looking forward and going, does it predict what we understand today? You will say, looking from today backwards, does it match, and how can I explain it to myself and others? So I think we've got a difference of the way we assess it.
But it's like saying this, right? For example, if you read any piece by Shakespeare or something, right? It doesn't mean Shakespeare has to speak our language or like a futuristic language.
True, but Shakespeare,
for us to appreciate what he was trying to say.
But Shakespeare is not claiming to be a book for all time, for all people, and 100% true from a creator. So we can't go and use other examples. We can't use other examples in our analogies. There's no other example apart from, not even the Christian Bible, by the way, claims that it was directly dictated word for word by God.
No, but you see that you are the one who's setting up those standards by saying that, well, you see, this book is it has to be because we're talking about language right now. So you're saying what the language for me, it's super logical that it's been revealed in a language which the people used back then, and we still can appreciate it. There's no...
Sure, we can appreciate it for the time in which it was done, but we can't appreciate it as well today as it was then. That's the difference. We can't appreciate it in the same way that they may have appreciated it. Because if it was written for them, then we need to say it was written for them and not for us. If you're going to say it's written for them and for us, then we've got to use our modern interpretation to look at it. And if it matches that, fine. If it doesn't, then there's a big question mark on that. So that's the problem I have when Muslims claim it's a book for all people and all time,
but I don't
and then it seems like that's not the case.
Can you just like... I don't understand the conflict, because in my head I'm thinking, okay, you right now, you're looking for a verse, or you're looking for something that describes like
something that we know to be true today.
Yeah. But there's so many things in the Quran that we know to be true today. It talks about morality. It talks about truths that are so universal. Universal truths.
Okay, so you're talking about universal truths.
Yeah.
If I were to show you or to provide for you an error in the Quran that you could verify yourself, what would that mean for you as a Muslim?
I haven't understood the question.
Okay, so you believe that the Quran is error-free, inerrant, right? There's no errors in the Quran.
I don't believe there is any errors. Yes.
Okay, good. If I were to produce you one and you could verify it yourself, what would that mean to you? What would you now think to yourself? If there was an error in the Quran and you went, wow, there is an error, what would you then, how would you think about that?
It's just going to be if for now, isn't it?
No, but
but
hypothetically.
But don't reject what he's doing. He's showing you what.
Okay, if you said to me, Rob,
which is to deny. He's denying.
I'm not denying.
He's already denying.
It's not denying. I said it's like saying if you had a son.
Stop. So you still there?
Right. If you had a son.
Stop.
Would you send him to the army?
Oh, it's got to pop out.
Would you?
Me?
Yeah. Do you have a son?
The English army, no, not personally.
Yeah, you don't know that 100%.
Have you had any chats?
It's very
You don't have a son?
With Omar, the sort of visa Omar, the bald one, with an American accent.
I'll get what
And I spoke to the guy with the kind of hat that says blacked.
Cool.
Like when he says things like that, what if I found? Bring it.
Make sure he doesn't get stirred too far away from science. I hope he doesn't pollute the public space too much.
Good luck with that.
dokie.
All right, I'll catch up with you, Jamie.
Like, I mean, bring what you think, what you consider as an error.
Okay, but
and
before
I try to be honest.
Okay, but that's why I asked you if it was an error.
Yeah.
What would that mean to you? Would you still be a Muslim? Would you not be a Muslim? What?
No, I would just first of all I would go and research.
Yeah, sure.
And then I will
I'm just
understand
asking you
what you're trying to say.
hypothetically.
Yeah.
So if it was the other way around and you asked me, Rob, if I was a Muslim and you asked me, Rob, what would it mean to you if there was an error? I would say to you, if I believe this book was inerrant and there was in fact an error, then I could not believe this book is inerrant. In other words, I couldn't believe it's entirely from God.
Yeah.
There might be parts of it from God, parts not, but I couldn't believe it's entirely from God.
Yeah.
That would be my response if somebody asked me. But in your response seems to be, well, I'm not going to commit, even if hypothetically there was an error, I'm still going to hedge my best.
You see, that's the thing. That's the blurred line as a Muslim. And it might sound weird to you, but to me the reason why I wouldn't say that is because it goes back to this whole experience thing, isn't it? Like, I had experiences with the Quran, and I've seen things outside of my experiences that I've seen so much. I've seen so much in like 10 years I've been Muslim. It's already, for me, it's been established, and I always continue to ask for guidance to be on the right path, and that I don't have any doubts. You know?
But don't you think that's kind of
I might, and doubts really just like doubts in Islam, in Islamic context, doubts is a disease. Having a doubt is
really?
A disease. Yeah, we view it as a disease of the heart, and doubts are the cure to doubt knowledge, knowing about the matter.
Sure, but if the knowledge turns out to be something that contradicts the Quran, then
it's really unlikely. I don't think that.
That's what I'm trying to say.
No,
it doesn't matter. He will not accept it. He will go and he will get.
Please, can you not talk to me?
You know.
Can you please not talk to me?
You won't.
No, don't talk to me.
Okay, you talk to yourself.
Yeah, Master. I have no. Like I said to you before, instead of doing that, you could present it already what you view as error, and then we talk about it.
I wanted to see if it was worth presenting to you, because if your view is there's nothing that will persuade me, then I don't think it's worth having a conversation.
Let's investigate what you're saying.
Sure. Verse 4:11 and 4:12, it talks about inheritance.
Yeah.
If you go and read those verses, and I encourage you to do them, please do not take my word for it, by all means. Yeah. If you go and read those two verses, under certain circumstances, those verses will add up to more than 100%, which we know is mathematically impossible. Okay? Now, the scholars have recognized this, and what the scholars have done is use two different terminologies, generally speaking, to circumvent this error. One is to reduce the portion sizes so that it does add up to 100%, and there's another sort of part to that, and the other one is just to reduce the portion sizes of the females.
Okay.
So, but the problem is they contradict the Quran. So as an outsider, either I accept the scholar's view or I accept the Quran's view. But I can't accept both because they contradict each other. And this, for me, as an outsider, is a knockdown argument. So this is not like we can interpret this, we can talk about this.
Did you find this error yourself, or did you read it somewhere?
I found it from my co-host, because we do a show on this. So, and I read through it afterwards. I watched his entire video, which is online. I read through it, and I read some of the tafsirs on it, because it actually talks about how it was Ibn al-Abdullah who was sick, and Muhammad and Abu Bakr went to him, and he said, oh, they poured some water on him, and he said, well, how do I give away my inheritance? And that's how these verses were revealed. Mm-hmm. And so I've looked at them, we've done the mathematics, and and even the Islamic calculators online, if you put the numbers in, they show that it goes above 100%. But their response is, hey, just use the term awal, A-W-A-L, which just means reduce the portion sizes. So they're aware of this error, but their correction is to reduce the portion sizes. But nowhere in the Quran does it say reduce the portion sizes. So we have a Quranic error, and we have the scholars who are correcting the error. And to me, that's
I'm interested.
Very difficult.
I'm interested in the origin of this argument. Where did you find the origin of this argument?
In the Quran, 4:11. I've just said to you through my colleague.
your colleague?
In the
He's the most anti-academic guy that hates Islam so much.
And
That's what he's looking for. That's what he wants.
Hey,
No, well,
I
that's
swear,
before
I swear by you, I'm telling you for the last time, I'm not going to get
Stop,
violent.
stop, stop.
I'm going to walk away. Because you're not respectful.
Okay, I won't say anything.
No, don't talk on my behalf. Look, to be honest now, I've been talking to you for a long time.
Sure.
Have I not been respectful?
yeah, we've had a respectful comment.
I command respect. I command respect. I command respect.
But this is Speaker's Corner, you know Speaker's
It's nothing to do with
It
Speaker's
is.
Corner.
Stop,
It's
so you're still
about
there?
courtesy. It's about courtesy.
You know, it's
You're a human being. I'm not a human being.
Yeah, I am a human
Okay,
being.
so let's have courtesy.
So you know I'm speaking for
I
myself.
want to respect you.
Yeah.
I want to.
You know why I'm
Give
speaking
it back
for
to me.
myself. You know I'm speaking for myself.
No, you keep saying this and that. Don't do that.
because
Don't do
Guys,
that.
let's not fight about it. Let's not
Because
fight
you're not
about it.
being
Yeah, because I'm protecting myself. I need people to
by
know.
talking over another man. How are you protecting yourself?
Because we need to know who you are. Because if you come in the name of logic and you're not interested,
Please don't talk to me. I don't
then we
argue
need
with
to know-
fools. I don't argue with
We
fools.
need to know who you are.
No. I don't argue with fools.
We don't
Let me
need
have
to-
a conversation with this man who's respectful. He is addressing me. He's not making up things. Oh, this guy thinks this. Don't talk to you. I already told you don't do it, but you still do it.
Okay, guys, let's not fight, guys. Guys. Okay, let's not have a.
Not everyone. No, I understand. I shouldn't argue with. No, it's right.
Okay, so hopefully go away and research it.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't come
Thank
back
you.
for
Yeah.
probably a month or something, but I run a show every Friday at 8
Yeah.
p.m. on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
If you find that you've got a resolution to this that does not contradict the Quran, I'll be very happy to hear it.
It's you know one thing I remember this is like a few years ago. What I think one of a friend actually told me it was like the hardest law in Islam in Islam is the inheritance law. It's a very highly complicated law. It's a highly complicated law to understand. That's the only thing I know about inheritance law.
Maybe they're saying that though to in my opinion to mask this error. So it's almost like Muslims, please don't look into this. This is too complicated, because if you look into it, you might actually find that there's an error here, and that's it could be the case. Okay, so pleasure speaking to you. Hopefully, you can have a look at that 411, 412.
Let me write this
Yeah,
down.
411 and 412. Have a look at that, and then let me know if there's a solution, as I say, that does not contradict the Quran.
You know what?
I'd be very keen to hear what you
like. I'm trying to be as transparent and as honest as possible.
I appreciate it.
You see, yes, I understand the Speaker's Corner, but you know what? We also need to understand that Speaker's Corner, we can elevate this place by having real discussion as humans. See, when I stand here, you stand over there, I see you as a human first, and it doesn't matter what you say to me, I will give you that respect, and I will try to honor you as a human. Do you understand? So for me, it's not about me versus you. That's not going to get us nowhere. And you know, the evolution of humans has never got us anywhere like that. Personalities, no, it was always the pursuit of beauty and truth. That's where we want to arrive at. So when I say to you, as a fellow human being, please don't do that, because what I keep doing is, first of all, it's being recorded. Do you understand? So when you say things like that, and like thousands of people saying that, I'm just a human being. So I feel attacked personally. When I came here, I tried to leave my personality out, and for the sake of just having a discussion, fruitful discussion. And that also could be part of the Speaker's Corner. It doesn't always have to be the versus thing. And I feel like you can read my vibes. If I'm someone who's arrogant and like whatever, then I will understand if you were to do that, because you have to break me down somewhere, innit? But I've been trying to be as non-hostile. Yeah.
You're not, no, listen, you've not been like that. But when I see a light, I want to just get to the point of exposing who this person is.
But that's rude as well. You know why it's rude? It's like that. You don't know me. In order for you to establish that I'm a liar, you have to have seen me lying before. Other than that, it's all speculation. You do science, right? You can't 100% prove that I'm a liar. So that would be an insult. So you see, if you were to say, or you're trying to figure out if I'm a liar, how are you going to do that? You can't.
and that we humans follow. It's the same as a nation.
Yeah, no, I heard. You might have to tell me.
When you don't do what you were saying, sometimes in an argument, people's sensitivities.
It's called the defense system. And they don't call it
Yeah.
defense system just because they're trying to bend it to its meanings of words. It is.
Thank you, guys.
The point is, Iran, and you'll see what I was talking about Adam and Eve.
Hey guys, hope that was a little bit more beneficial in terms of a discussion. I'm going to stop the stream now and restart it shortly. I just need to have a water and a little bit of bite to eat, so give me a few minutes and then we'll be up with stream number 3. I've still got about 2 hours left here in the park before I need to go, so we'll definitely have at least one more stream before I go. So thanks very much, and by the way, if you're enjoying this, please consider supporting me on Patreon. That's a way that I'll be able to come down here at least once a month, if not more often. If I get more supporters, then obviously I can do more live streaming and bring you conversations and these sort of things. I'll also do the edit of these, so any interesting conversations I'll put on my channel in high quality HD video recording as well. So we'll be back shortly with the next version of the stream. Thanks guys.
Before accent,